next verse is about discrimination. And discrimination has got a video of its own, video 306, which covered verse 460. So you might want to have a look at that, but it's not really necessary because I'll cover the main points in this video. Discrimination is what is responsible for our ignorance. And in this sutra, in this text, we're looking very deeply. And when we look deeply, we find that discrimination is the core cause of our ignorance. And just to keep things simple, it's probably best if I say what it is. Discrimination is the movement of the attention. The movement of the attention. And this movement is usually unconscious. It's prompted by our basic moods, our basic desires, anxieties, and whatever. And the teaching of the Buddha is that there are two underlying motivating factors for the movement of the attention. And one is existence, a desire for existence, and one is the desire for non-existence. And this is a topic which I've addressed in recent videos. There's also a particular video, 315, which is devoted to the topics of eternalism and nihilism. Eternalism being the perspective of the desire for existence, and nihilism being the perspective of the desire for non-existence. As I say, this has been a theme which has been explored. But again, to keep it simple, we can understand the desire for existence as the desire to believe in the external world, to believe that the external world is something constant and always there, even after we're gone. And nihilism is the belief that nothing matters. You just grab what you can while you can, because it's all going to end at some point. Either I'm going to end or the world's going to end. So that's putting it in simple terms. But I've also explained it in terms of the desire for existence as being the desire to have what we haven't got. And the desire for non-existence is the desire to change what we have got, or to get rid of what we've got. So although it sounds quite abstruse or abstract, it's actually very practical. And we have to look for the practical relevance of these teachings. These are not philosophical teachings. We need to look for the simplest possible understanding and put it into practice. So let's have a look at verse 678. Discrimination may rise in two ways, but when it is seen in its true nature, it will never rise again. For in all things not being born, there is the awakening of intelligence. But where there is the birth of things, this is owing to discrimination. Let one not discriminate. So discrimination may rise in two ways, and this is in reference to existence and non-existence. We could also take it in reference to me here and a world out there. We make this twofold discrimination. But when it is seen in its true nature, it will never rise again. Basically, it's about the attention moving around. And normally, the attention moves around automatically. We're like dogs being wagged by the tail. We're being wagged by all these forces we're barely aware of and driven this way and that. But as enlightenment practitioners, or even as people who are trying to lead a so-called spiritual lifestyle, we become aware, we become mindful. We become mindful of what the attention is doing. We become mindful of where it's at. We become mindful of its basic tendencies, of the basic tendencies that drive it. And then when possible, we practice allowing the attention to come to rest. This is true meditation. Where does the attention come to rest? It comes to rest right here. Here with a capital H. And here what can I say about here? Here is the diamond body. There's lots of things I've been saying about here. In recent videos I've been talking about the rainbow body. That's what is here. There's this wonderful Mahayana sutra I've been reading called the Samadhi of the direct encounter with Buddhas of the present, or with the Buddhas of the present. And this is even more wonderful and more glorious. And I've mentioned this sutra before, and I'd like to mention it again at some point. So this is the option we have. We have the option of abiding in the Vajra body, in the rainbow body, of being in the Samadhi, whereby we can encounter the Buddhas of the present. And these Buddhas inhabit other universes. Now you might be wondering if I'm encountering these Buddhas from other universes. Well, I'm an enlightenment practitioner, and I practice, and I want to be honest with you. I can't say I'm seeing Buddhas from other universes, but there is a sense of something. There is a sense of something. And it's a wonderful thing to go with. The option being, the option is just to get caught up once again into your horrible little moods. So this is the alternative we have to discrimination. So when it is seen in its true nature, it will never rise again. Well, that's true. When you see it in its true nature, it will never rise again. But a lot of the time, we don't see it in its true nature, or we might forget its true nature. So we lapse back. And the realization is that all things are not born, for in all things not being born, there is the awakening of intelligence. We realize that the world does not have a history. There is no cause and effect in the world. And this is something I addressed in the previous video in some detail. When you realize this, it's described to you as the awakening of intelligence. Well, intelligence is one way of describing it, but I think a more accurate way of describing it is the awakening of sanity. The awakening of sanity. This is the great relief that these teachings can give us. We have found sanity once again. The world is utterly insane, and by the world I mean the world of human beings. When you look at what humans get up to, what they devote their lives to, what they devote this extraordinary phenomenon called existence to, well, it's like being in a madhouse. And this is the thing that these teachings can offer. They can offer sanity. The Buddha teaches that our everyday reality is one of suffering. But really, it's one of insanity. It's one of insanity. One of the original translations for the word dharma, and dharma in the sense of the teaching of the Buddha, was the norm. N-O-R-M. The teaching of the norm. It's like the Buddha is teaching us how to be normal once again. Not statistically normal, but normal in the sense of how we can be optimally. The implication being that most of the time we're abnormal in the sense of insane. So, never mind the awakening of intelligence, it's the awakening of normality, the awakening of sanity. That's what happens when you realize the true nature of discrimination. But this is not our usual situation. The penultimate part of this verse tells us, but where there is the birth of things, this is owing to discrimination. And this is when we discriminate the world once again as an external thing, and we discriminate an individual, me, experiencing it. And this is owing to discrimination. It's owing to the movement of the attention, the automatic, habitual movement of the attention. Let one not discriminate. In other words, study the attention. I talked about the attention moving on to getting caught up with the so-called external world. But the attention is usually on thoughts and on feelings. This inner world is very much part of the external world as far as spiritual practice is concerned. There's no distinction between inner and outer. The attention can be in either of them. The attention can be out there, it can be on the body, on feelings, sensations, but most of the time it's on our own thoughts and our own emotions. So observe this. Observe this. I also suggest contemplate the nature of the attention. Contemplate it directly. Don't cogitate about it. Contemplate the attention directly. And as I said, in keeping with what the Buddhist teachings prompt us to, marvels, miracles will unfold. Miracles of the Vajra body or diamond body, the Dharmakaya, body of truth, the rainbow body, which has all these myriad sublime qualities to it, each of them represented by the colours of the rainbow. We've also got the possibility of encountering Buddhas from other universes. These are the wonders that we can explore.